Did you know that by 1914, about 90% of Africa was under European rule? And that this massive takeover happened in less than 40 years? It's a shocking piece of history, and the story of how it happened is even more complex. Stick around, because we are going to unravel the true story of the colonization of Africa, from its origins to its lasting impact. So, how did it all begin? While European powers had trading posts along the African coast for centuries, the real scramble for the continent kicked off in the late 1800s. The Industrial Revolution in Europe created a huge demand for raw materials, things like rubber, cotton, diamonds, and palm oil. Africa was seen as a treasure trove of these resources, just waiting to be taken. This economic hunger, combined with a sense of national pride and competition between European nations, lit the fuse. Explorers, missionaries, and traders paved the way, mapping the interior and establishing initial contacts, often through treaties that local leaders didn't fully understand. This brings us to a pivotal moment in 1884, the Berlin Conference. Imagine a meeting where European leaders literally sat around a map and drew lines across Africa, dividing it among themselves. Not a single African representative was invited. This event formalized the scramble for Africa. What followed was a swift and often brutal period of conquest. Powerful European armies, armed with advanced weaponry like the Maxim gun, overwhelmed local resistance. From the vast plains of the Sahel to the dense forests of the Congo, European flags were raised, and entire societies were brought under foreign control. The methods of control varied. Some powers, like the British, used indirect rule, governing through existing local chiefs and structures. Others, like the French, preferred assimilation, trying to impose their own language and culture. But regardless of the method, the goal was the same: exploitation. Colonies were designed to serve the mother country. Infrastructure like railways and ports were built, but not to benefit Africans. They were built to transport resources out of Africa as quickly as possible. Let's talk about the human cost, which was staggering. In places like the Congo Free State, under the personal rule of King Leopold II of Belgium, the quest for rubber led to unimaginable cruelty. Millions of Congolese people suffered and died under a system of forced labor. Across the continent, traditional ways of life were shattered. New borders, drawn without any regard for existing ethnic or cultural groups, split communities apart or forced rival groups into the same colony, planting the seeds for future conflicts that we still see today. Africans were often forced to grow cash crops for export instead of food for themselves, leading to famine. They were subjected to heavy taxes, forced labor, and denied basic rights and education. The rich cultural heritage and political systems that had existed for centuries were dismissed and dismantled. The legacy of this era is incredibly complex and deeply felt across the continent. While the colonial period officially ended for most of Africa in the mid-20th century, its effects linger. The economic structures designed for extraction made it difficult for newly independent nations to build self-sufficient economies. The political borders drawn in Berlin have fueled ethnic tensions and civil wars. The psychological impact of having your culture and identity suppressed is a wound that takes generations to heal. But this is not just a story of victimhood. It's also a story of immense resilience and resistance. Throughout the colonial period, Africans fought back in countless ways, from armed uprisings to political movements and cultural preservation. The spirit of independence never died, and it ultimately led to the liberation of the continent. Understanding this history is crucial, not to assign blame, but to understand the world we live in today and the incredible strength of the African people. What part of this history surprised you the most? And how do you see the legacy of colonialism playing out in the world today? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Let's have a meaningful conversation. Thanks for watching, and if you found this video insightful, please give it a like and subscribe for more deep dives into our shared history. See you next time.